Welcome to this week's episode. I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help all you ladies and gentlemen out there in the aviation world sell more products and services.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about our website refresh process, which is, I think, the best website refresh process done by anybody anywhere.
Wow.
Well, of course I would think that because we've been refining it. Every time we see someone that we think is doing a better job, we add something to our process to make sure that we've got the best one. And of course, we work only with aviation companies, so this is kind of particular to this industry as well.
And since we've done so many of them now, we actually added another person or two to make sure that it's done right.
Exactly. All right, so we have talked in several episodes up to this point about the things that your website should do for you. And those things are, get found using specific keywords, educate prospective buyers, and get prospects to contact you. So those are the things that we're going to be focused on. There's a million things that your website can do. Take people's money.
It probably should, based on your business or service.
Right. Some people are doing catalogs, they're doing databases, they're doing applications that are behind the scenes of their website, they're doing all kinds of things that are connections to your website or from your website. Mm-hmm. And all of those things are possibilities as well. But if your website doesn't do these three things, then it's not doing its job from a marketing perspective by any stretch of the imagination.
Which is one of the things it's supposed to do.
Exactly. Okay, so the first step in our process is a consultation, and we do free consultations. So if you're concerned about the state of your website, and you've been wringing your hands for months wondering, how do we even get into this? We've actually had situations where people can't even get into their old website. And we've had to do some work to figure out how to make that happen. Or do we want to just replicate what you have if there's anything good in there and go forward from that point? Or perhaps your website is just fine and it needs a little bit of a aesthetic, touch up just to make it look more modern. It could be that the content is really good. It just needs an update in technology. So that's our first step, is to do a nice in-depth look at your website with you and find out if we can help. And if so, if it would be worth doing a website refresh.
Yeah, we don't break anything that's working.
Exactly. What is the rule number 1 of doctors? The Hippocratic Oath, do no harm?
That's right.
Right. Okay. Second thing is an agreement. And the agreement is pretty simple. You own the intellectual property. You own your website. If we ever decide to part ways, then you take your website with you. We give you a copy of it, and everything else that we have built for you is your intellectual property. We also, in that agreement, is basically just the terms and scope of what we're deciding to do.
In fact, we might want to use it like we are using some of these here.
Exactly, in some of our lectures, webinars, public speaking, other kinds of things. So
basically giving you more PR.
More exposure, and so on. And most of our clients love that, which is great. Mm-hmm. So, you're in the business of marketing a product or service anyway, so this is a good thing. All right, next thing is what we call our 31-point checklist. And what that is we used some industry best practices in aviation and some industry best practices that we learned from other industries. John and I both come from the finance industry years ago. I did some time in the education industry, education software. So, we have some perspectives that we're bringing and best practices from other industries as well. And then we also use Dr. Jacob Nielsen's eye tracking as a basis for some of the items in our checklist. Basically, he did a lot of research. This is really interesting. He tracked people's eyes as they were using websites, and he used some kind of technology to do this. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if he hooked them up to the Borg or whatever it is that he did. But he basically timed every interaction and then also watched where people's eyes went and where their mouse went. And based on that, he came up with some best practices of people always look for the search in the upper right-hand corner. That is just something that people do. For what reason, we don't know. We don't care, but we do know that that is where people expect to find certain things. So we want to make sure that we're using those best practices, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Another thing that we find out with the 31-point checklist is a lot of times you'll have some really great content in your website that nobody is seeing, which is tragic, right? Stuff that you've worked really hard on and is really good stuff, and it's buried in there and nobody's ever going to find it because it's not getting indexed, or it's just buried, or it's hard to find, right?
We fix that.
We fix that. But we find it first using the 31-point checklist. So, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next thing we do is we copy your old website.
Interjection.
Yes.
It's not your audio, it's my voice. I'm sometimes squeaky right now for some reason.
Is this a second adolescence or something?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's cool. All right. Well, we all have our issues, right?
Issue, huh?
Yeah. If you're wondering why I'm standing funny, it's because my leg is broken. So
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you brought it up.
I know. This is hysterical. We went skateboarding, right? And anyway, it's a long, long story, but very funny.
Skateboarding's actually become a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. But not fun that particular day. And so I'm standing a little weird. But anyway, we'll make it work. So copy your old website. What we do is we take your website and we put it on a staging server that has a goofy URL that only you and our team know where it is, so that we can all look at it while it's in development. This does some interesting things because a lot of people don't want to see the sausage being made. But a lot of people do. They want to see the different stages that things go through, and, they want to be able to approve every little pixel and things like that. So different clients have different levels of interest.
And we can accommodate no matter.
Yeah, different levels of interest in different parts of the process. So we make, first of all, pretty much a duplicate of your old website, and then we take what we learned from that 31-point checklist and whatever you wanted to update that we learned in your consultation. We take those two things, put them together, and say these are the things that we want to update about your website. So then, of course, we also update the technology.
Yep.
We always use WordPress because it is the most used, the easiest to update, the most updated website technology on the web.
Last time I checked, 70% of the websites, according to somebody, Google, I think, use WordPress.
That's right. And it's what we call a content management system, which means depending on, some clients want us to handle everything with their website. Some clients want us to hand them the keys and let them make updates and things like that, add blog posts, change the dates of things, and so on. So that technology allows multiple users to have different levels of access, and that really helps us manage that. Right, the way that you want it, the way you want to manage your website. Second thing is we update the content. So, in this case, we're going to be probably adding some videos, maybe switching out some text for video, just to make the technology more modern. Current, right? We're going to be updating your search engine optimization. So you may have some great content on there, but maybe switching some words is going to help you get found more easily. There's a lot of things that we can do with that content. There's probably a lot of things that have evolved about your company since the last time you had your website done. So those are things that we update at that time. We're going to add features. So things like chatbots, things like videos, things like testimonials, carousels, sliders, lots of different things that present your information in the most efficient and elegant way. That's going to represent you really well. If you have appointment calendars, if you have forms, any of those things we add.
Standard with this process is what's the word, where it'll go on an iPad, an iPhone.
Oh yeah, responsive.
Responsive
Design. So all of the WordPress themes that we use adapt automatically
to the size of the device.
To the size of the device. And then we also use some technology to make sure that your images are sized correctly for whatever device you're using. So it's going to look good on, and this is really important actually because Google started penalizing websites that don't look good on a mobile device. So really important to make sure that we're using responsive technology. And then one nice thing about WordPress is it's really easy to update every time Google makes a change. Usually, WordPress is not far behind in implementing a change in their next version.
And if you get a broken link somewhere on the website and it's used multiple times, you can change it once and it changes it
everywhere. It's fabulous. Right. Much easier for us, much easier for you. All right, and then of course we test and review everything on this copy of the website that nobody sees except for us and you on this private server. So we can spend as much time as we need going back and forth and making sure that everything is exactly the way that you want. Couple of things about this. This is a collaborative process, right? You know your company, you know your products, and you know your customers better than anybody else because you have spent years, in most cases, doing this. We cannot possibly have that level of knowledge that you do. And of course, we pride ourselves on the fact that we know the aviation industry and we'll be able to make some good suggestions. But you have the final say in everything. And in a lot of cases, we're going to be relying on you to make really good decisions with this.
Yep, you'll look at it and say, yes, or absolutely not.
Right, exactly. And we may go a few rounds of, this isn't what we wanted. Here's some, different wording. Our customers don't talk that way. This is the way that they think about this process or this product. And so there's going to be some back and forth. And the more involved that you are, the happier you're going to be with the end product.
Exactly.
Okay. Another thing that happens in this process, since it is so collaborative, is mood swings, right? We're all going to be excited when we get started on the project. We're all going to have really big ideas. We're all going to have some thoughts about what's going to go right and what's, and so on. The fact that you get to see every stage of this process means that you're going to see some stuff that you don't like. And you're going to see some stuff that is...
but you may like it after we get to the next step.
Exactly. So, there is a point that comes in every website development project, usually just before launch, where it's just, we have put in all of this work and we have seen none of the benefit yet, right? Mm-hmm. And that is just a natural part of the process. And, the more involved you are and the more emotionally invested you are in your company, the more these mood swings are going to happen. And we totally get that. And we ride through it with you. And, the main thing is you end up happy, right?
Of course.
Okay. Next step is launch. And this is the fun part. This is where we start to see all of that hard work come to fruition. And every launch is different because every starting point is different. Some websites it's just a small touch-up. Some websites it's a complete burn it to the ground and start over, right? And then we measure, what is the impact of what we just did. And this is a tool called SEMrush that shows a 90-day window of some improvement on a new website. And you can see, these are keywords, keyword rankings. In this case, 1 to 3s are yellow, so we want to see more yellow. 4 to 10s are the light blue, darker blue, darker blue, darker blue, darker blue, right? So 1 to 3 means when someone types aviation marketing into Google, we want to come up number 1, and we do right now, which is cool. Yes, we do.
Wow.
So, those yellow things are really what we want to see more of. And over time, with your new website, you're going to see more of that yellow on your SEMrush chart, which is cool. So this is one, that is, at a certain stage of development after launching in, actually, I think we launched this way before December, so you don't see that dramatic of a curve. This is another one that shows the progress over time, and you can see there are some ups and downs, but for the most part, they go up, right?
Yep.
And it's pretty consistent that happens. This one is showing traffic rather than search engine position for particular keywords. And this is the organic versus paid traffic. This is all organic traffic because you can see it's a blue line. And this is showing the history of the world for the Delta Engineering site.
And we monitor and measure this stuff 9 ways from Sunday, so.
Yeah, we use at least 2 tools to measure your website traffic because one of them may be off. So, you never rely on one thing. Just like when you're flying, you never rely on one set of instruments. You always have a backup. Mm-hmm. So that is all very important. And once we've developed a site and launched it for you, as long as you're working with us and you're in our marketing lab or using one of our content subscriptions or anything along those lines, you get a complete set of reports every month, electronically and also on paper if you're in the United States. Because most of our decision makers still like to see things on paper and still think better on paper than we do in electrons. So then you can see the progress over time as your website evolves and is getting more traffic.
Yep.
All right. So the 3 things we concentrate on in every website we work on, there's a lot of things beyond this that are different for every website.
Oh,
Right?
heavens, yes.
But these are the 3 that are true for every single one of them as the old-timers 3-bladed knife, right? Get found for specific keywords, educate prospective buyers, and get prospects to contact you. And those are the 3 goals we have for every website we build.
Yep.
All right. So if you book a website refresh with us before March 31st,
Yep.
not April Fool's Day, but the day before April Fool's Day, we will include 3 free promo videos. And what I mean by 3 free promo videos, these are short videos, usually less than 2 minutes, that are built from either your raw footage, which you can shoot with your iPhone or whatever, and we can give you some suggestions about how to make that better. Slides, animations, our stock footage, our stock video footage, and other kinds of things. So if we use any combination of those things, it's free.
Does that include Prezi?
Yeah, sure. Prezi, Visio, PowerPoint, Doodly, any of those things we will use for you to create these promo videos, whatever the best tool is for the job. If you want a video crew, that's available as well. If you want video shot on site at your location at an additional
Optional additional cost.
Exactly. But we can do a lot with that stock photography and slides and other kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 free promo videos, you can use those either as product demos, happy customer interviews. You can use those for an intro for your homepage. You can use those as a concept explainer. There's lots of things that you can do with a 2-minute video that are really, really powerful these days.
Cool.
All right. So book your website refresh before March 31st and you get those 3 promo videos that we will include on your website, and you can also use them on social media and anywhere else you like.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
And we'll see you next time around.
Yep.